Hello, everyone. Thank you for showing up once again. I like to think of this meeting each day as a room that we come into. We can sit and relax and have some tea and be ourselves and think about big thoughts and empower each other. That's what I'm doing. Hope you'll join me. The other morning, Dee and I were walking the dogs, and she said, everybody's talking about the new normal. She says, but who's going to create that normal? Is it something that's dictated from other people, or is it something that arises from inside of us? So I thought it would be a good title today to call it Your New Normal. And I capitalized YOUR, especially in the title, because I want you to think about what new normal you would create from the inside out. Someone once said, if you don't use your mind, someone else will. And for most of our lives, other people have been using our minds. How many advertising impressions do you see each day? What did your religion tell you about what would happen to you if you weren't a good person? What did your parents try to force you to do that you didn't want to do? So a lot of us have been living our lives in a normal that has been dictated by a lot of other people. And this COVID crisis and the economic turndown is really a rare opportunity to go within and ask yourself, what would be my new normal? Now, if you look outside for what normal is, it's not. Reality is not decided by a vote. Just because lots of people believe something is real or normal or good or healthy does not make it so. A lot of people in a mental institution does not make it sane. And Yogananda, the great yogi, said, it's very helpful to consider this world a big mental institution. Everybody's crazy in one way or another, and we all hang out with people who are crazy in the same way we are, and we call that reality. But at some point in each of our lives, we start to think about, is the insane way I've been living the way I want to continue to be living? And the answer is really a big no. Now, insanity, according to the Course in Miracles, is a fear-based life. And the only other choice is a love-based life. Now, one really good way to dictate a new normal would be a new personal normal, at least, and it might spill out to collective, might be to ask yourself, what am I doing in my life that is motivated by fear? And what am I doing in my life that is motivated by love? And the real spiritual work is to address the fear-based activities and reframe them so we can come from love. That would be a fabulous new normal to create, wouldn't it? People talking about continuing social distancing and blah, blah, blah. It's just really rearranging chairs on the deck of a sinking ship. It's a horizontal new normal, but not a vertical new normal. We want to create a vertical new normal. So let me give you a couple examples of people I know who have shifted from fear to love. And we call this in my coach training the process of reframing. So one of my coach graduates said that she had been divorced and they had a child, and her husband, this was years later, her husband had a new girlfriend, and the mother and father would take turns, caring for this daughter. And one weekend, at the end of the weekend, when the father brought the daughter back, the father's girlfriend was with him, and she gave the daughter a hug and a kiss and said, I love you. And my client was furious because at first she felt like this woman was trying to replace her as the daughter's mother. So my client felt very competitive and jealous. And she said, I thought about it, that's a fear-based attitude, isn't it? Excuse me. What would be a love-based attitude? She thought, well, isn't it nice that my daughter has two moms who love her? When I'm with her, I give her the ultimate attention and love and care. And then when she goes to see her dad and his girlfriend give my daughter a lot of care. So it's a win-win for everybody. So she moved her attitude from a fear-based attitude to a love-based attitude. Now, we remember that great movie, It's a Wonderful Life, with James Stewart. So there's a scene in the movie where George Bailey is a bank manager, and there's a big run on the bank, and everybody in town is lining up, and they want the cash out of the bank. And George knows that if everybody takes their cash, the bank's going to go bust. So there's one man who says, I want to take all my savings out. And George Bailey says to him, do you really need all that? How much do you really need? And the man thinks, well, I'll just take half of that. George says, fine. So fear says, I lack, I'm desperate, there's competition, there's not enough for everybody. And love says, I live in a universe that is supplied by a great spirit. And really, there's enough of everyone. There's enough of everything for everybody. There's enough love. There are enough marriage partners. How many women have I heard say, all the good ones are taken or they're gay? Well, is that a fear-based statement or a love-based statement? I say to those clients, well, how many do you really want? I'll say just one. I'll say out of 3.5 billion men on the planet, do you think there might be one that's available and a good guy? Oh, yeah, maybe. So at every given moment, we're choosing between lack and supply, between fear and love. And so wouldn't it be wonderful if before we emerge from this quarantine period, which a lot of us are still in, if we start to think about how can I rebuild my life in a way that really matches me? And I have an interesting definition of integrity. You're in integrity when the life you're living on the outside matches who you are on the inside. You're not in integrity when a religion or a family or a culture or government says this is who you should be and they live up to it. That's not integrity. That's hypocrisy. But when you dive into your heart and ask your heart, who am I really? And how would I really like to be living independent of the norms that others have set for me? And you find the guts to step forward and live that, there's no deeper reward and there's no deeper service to the planet. Now, Dee and I, we're always checking in with each other about what would be integrity. And for many years, we would wake up in the morning and walk our dog and have some breakfast. And then we would hit the computers. We both work on my business. And one day we said, hey, why don't we break that pattern? Let's go out in the morning. We go for a walk in the woods, or we take the dog someplace different, or we go to the beach, or do something different. And then we would come back in the afternoon and do our work. And we found that just breaking that pattern and doing something enlivening instead of the same old rut. Remember, I once said that a rut is a grave with the ends knocked out. And so if you're in a rut, this would be a wonderful time to break that rut and start a brand new pattern for your new normal, not the new normal that the government sets, but your new normal. Now, we talked the other day about reinventing yourself, about using this quarantine time as a time to reinvent yourself. And I talked about the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And someone wrote in on the comments, and thank you, by the way, all for your lovely comments. I read them all and I appreciate them all on YouTube. Someone said, when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, it does not just sprout wings and fly away. What actually happens is the caterpillar completely dissolves and goes into kind of a mushy gel. And it becomes like a soup. And it bears no resemblance to what it was beforehand. Might have mentioned this before. If I have, it's good to mention again. And then the caterpillar completely rebuilds itself And the butterfly is an entirely new creation. It took all the elements of the old life that had been jangled and rearranged and actually sort of blown to smithereens, you might say. And it takes the pieces and puts them back together and makes a new creation that breaks out of the cocoon and flies away as a beautiful, gorgeous butterfly. Now, if you've ever been through a divorce, you may have felt like you were decimated and your whole old life fell apart. But you took the old pieces that no longer stuck together or fit together, and you rearranged them in a new way that was extraordinary and miraculous and marvelous. So if you've lost your job, or you're going through some kind of major change as a result of this virus and economic turndown, this is God's opportunity to, you may feel like you become a soupy mess, and that's okay. And as we've said many times on this broadcast, this too shall pass. So all the elements for your new normal are already available to you. You know, I was coaching someone the other day. I have a new course about becoming a professional seminar leader. And one lady said, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to become a seminar leader. I said, what are you doing when you're ready? She said, well, I like to do women's circles. I said, well, let it be easy. Why not build your seminar on women's circles? She said, oh, I never thought of that. So sometimes the most powerful answer is the easiest one that's right before you. So what if you already have all the elements, all the history you've lived, all the experiences you've had, all the spiritual training, all the encounters, good and bad, are now available to you to rebuild and point them in a new direction and make something entirely new and amazing of your life. I want to read you something that was sent in by Lydie from Paris. Lydie is a graduate of my life coach training. And I'm going to read this to you. It's a beautiful description. She said, there's now a wonderful initiative in France called the Académie du Monde D'après, which means the after-crisis world. So these are a group of citizens presenting themselves as people in love with life. So they've organized an online festival. They've had 3 so far, 8-hour-long live sessions open to everyone. How cool is this? I wish I knew French. I could watch this. They invited all kinds of people, medical doctors, nurses, neuroscientists, epidemiologists, climatologists, sociologists, urbanists, social workers, organic farmers, researchers in sustainable agriculture, on and on and on, all kinds of architects, writers, social environmentalists. She said they don't want to go back to business as usual after the pandemic, so they're creating an open platform where anybody could get inspired, and they're all putting their ideas together, and they're presenting their ideas online for how could the world be a better place coming from inside out. And then people get to vote on the ones that they feel are the most benevolent, united, and supportive. And so they're going to take the best ideas from these 8-hour brainstorming sessions for people who want to make a new normal, a real new normal, and they're going to present them to the government and see what flies. I mean, this is how the new normal gets created, friends, not from the outside in, from the inside out. And when you have the guts to live your new normal, whatever that is, even if it doesn't match the new normal of others, then you are making the paramount contribution to raising the bar for everyone else to live their new normal. And somehow, through some miracle synchronicity, when everybody has the guts to live their personal new normal, you raise the tide. A rising tide raises all the ships, and you invite the entire world to live new normal. But you don't wait around for the world to follow you. You just do it anyway. And so this lovely lady, Lydie, she's actually living it. She was a corporate person. She had a long history in corporate programming. And she decided to quit and become a holistic life coach through my program. And now she's inviting people to come to Paris. She's showing them around Paris. Well, there's a lockdown now, but afterwards that'll work. And she's incorporating holistic coaching with showing them around Paris. She has a wonderful website. It's called A Good Life in Paris. Check it out. It's a beautiful website. It's called agoodlifeinparis.com. And the reason I'm highlighting her is that she stepped out of her old normal, and she had the guts to take a leap of faith and start a new normal that was hers. And you gotta compliment her for it. And so she's a graduate of my life coach training. We are starting a new program in September. If you would like to work with me for 6 months, and become a professional, holistic, certified life coach and start your new normal with a lot of the concepts that we're using in this Daily Dose series, I promise you it's a huge, huge, huge life change. Go to my website, alancohen.com, and we'll get you enrolled. It starts September 1st, just a few months away. So the point today is that real change, the only real change, proceeds from the inside out. And for a lot of us who've lived our lives from the outside in, this is the golden moment when the door is open. It's a moment of spiritual pregnancy, when each of us gets to rebirth ourselves. And through sincerely rebirthing and delivering our true self to life, we end up rebirthing the planet. And so it is.